Health and Wellness. My name is Zaitun Ali, and it is Happy International Women's Day, Women's Month. So for the whole of March, we're going to celebrate amazing strides that women have made in this society. And today, I am joined by Dr. Joy K. Mugambi, who is Secretary General, Commonwealth Medical Association. Welcome to the show. And we have Dr. Marie-Claire Wangari. She is co-founder, Women in Global Health Kenyan chapter. And today the topic of discussion is going to be women in global health leadership. So we want to actually say, we give you your flowers, guys. We give you your flowers for the amazing job you've been doing in the healthcare sector. Karibuni sana. So amazing to have you. And I'll just start with you, Dr. Joy. And I just want to know, how does it feel? What does it mean to you to be in leadership, especially right here in the health sector in Kenya and as a woman generally?
Thank you very much, Zaituni, for welcoming us to this show today. Yes. As we celebrate the Women's Day yesterday, and today we are continuing to celebrate. And as a woman in leadership, what does it feel like? It's a commitment I made to be able to serve other women and also the profession and the people that we serve. We basically most of the times work and deliver the service that we are meant to deliver. But aside from that, what else are you doing to improve the profession? What else are you doing to mentor and be able to inspire others as you move along in your profession? And most of the times it doesn't really happen at the workspace. It really happens all around the associations and the groups that you network with. You're able to grow the profession better, and you're able to advocate for policy changes, even working through the association. So that's where I came in, to be able to advocate for the woman, and especially in the Commonwealth Medical Association, where basically my colleagues are all men. And yes, it's been a long while working with them, but they are great team of male doctors who have really also inspired and worked along and encouraged women to come up in terms of leadership. I was elected last year as the Secretary General. I had served as the Vice President, East and Central Africa region, which is this region where we are. We've got 7 regions within the world where the Commonwealth Association is divided based on where countries are and the member organizations are.
Yeah, and you can even briefly just describe the role of Commonwealth in this health sector.
Basically, we are serving the countries which are under the Commonwealth. And these are the member organizations. Kenya Medical Association is a member organization of the Commonwealth. We've got other countries which were under the Commonwealth, which have medical associations within their country. And through them, we are able to advocate for policy changes, work with the major Commonwealth Secretariat to talk with their ministers in terms of advocacy and changes of policy, where we see we need policy direction. Currently, we are working around TB, mitigation of TB, women empowerment and youth. And we are also having a climate change agenda. Last year, we had a big event here, even in Kenya, where we had the Lancet countdown on climate mitigation. Women are the most affected when it comes to climate change. Also, in terms of empowering women to come into leadership around the Commonwealth organizations, and the Stop TB agenda, where we are working with Stop TB organization, which is archived in Geneva. And our aim is, the Commonwealth countries are the most affected when it comes to tuberculosis. And we are seeing drug resistance coming up. And the most affected still comes back to women and children. And we really want to ensure that through our Commonwealth organizations and the practitioners in this country, in the countries that are under Commonwealth, that we mitigate and ensure that we are tackling TB and end it completely. We are the best to be able to tackle that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense, a lot of it. And Dr. Marie, she's greatly explained the role she's playing in leadership, especially being a woman globally, literally in the healthcare sector under Commonwealth. But also you can just talk to us about what you do. And are you still in KMA? You know, I know Dr. Marie from way back. From way back. Are you still in Kenya Medical Association? Okay. Okay, just explain to us what you do. Yeah.
All right. So I'm one of the founding members of a movement called Women in Global Health, which basically, in a nutshell, looks at how to advocate for gender transformative leadership within the global health arena and having more women at the leadership table. As it stands, women form about 70% of the health workforce, but only 25% of them hold senior leadership roles.
Okay.
And Women in Global Health did a research in 2023 called She Shapes, which was looking at the state of leadership in global health in Kenya, Nigeria, and India. And we realized Kenya is not doing too badly, but we're still not there. In terms of leadership at a senior level, that is only 42% of the women in the health space.
Okay.
And then in the mid-level, it's 40%. So we still haven't got to 50, but at least we're better off than some of our counterparts.
So we are aiming at 50 and surpassing.
Surpassing 50.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's part of the work that I do. Yes, you are correct. I'm also with Kenya Medical Association with the Human Rights Committee, where we look at various human rights violations, and we realize that our women healthcare practitioners really go through a lot with regards to human rights violations, whether it's gender-based violence, whether it's violence at the workplace, and we, with both organizations, we try to see how to bridge that gap to ensure that our healthcare workers who are women are safe. So that's part of the reason why we have that movement. We have the movement called Women in Global Health to create more advocacy on those gaps.
Okay.
Yes.
At least you're working towards a common goal, at least now that you know the challenges are cross-cutting all through.
Yes.
So we hopefully, and I'll come back to you also with that factor about, what's it called, the ones that you said you're training.
The community
Health, exactly. Because empathy, there's communication that we say women are really great at, and it focuses more on team building, and they actually now can get to know the challenges even at the grassroots level, and also just find solution in the best possible way with empathy. So is it still working on that? Are they just showing, because previously we had challenges saying that the community health workers are not well trained, they're not actually doing the most in the community level. Is it changing in any way through those trainings that you're offering? Yeah, and also just putting the women up there on the front level. Is it changing?
I think there's some progress that's been made.
Yeah.
And the reason I'll say there's some progress that's been made is because, one, we have non-governmental organizations that are focusing on women leadership and recognizing the strides that women have. Women in Global Health normally has an annual award system called Heroines for Health, and the last Kenyan who won the award was actually a community health promoter who's doing amazing work in her community and also advocating for more community health workers, not just to focus on giving community interventions, but also think of how they fit in the global health architecture. Besides that, we also have the government commitments that have been made, especially on remuneration of these workers. So it's, I think, a matter of when it will happen, not if it will happen. So I think we are on the right track, but probably we could just hasten our efforts a little bit more.
So those are key things that you're actually advocating for.
Yes.
And you can see wonders when women are appreciated, they're recognized. Honestly, I hope that will be put in place because there'll be a turnover in all that. And coming back to you, Dr. Joy, what did it take for you to get to where you are? And in terms of, let's say, of course, you graduated, you had your papers, and it's not easy getting to that level. So what did it take along these steps?
It's been a long journey, Zaituni.
I can imagine.
A very long journey. I started off as a clinical officer.
Okay.
Then within that journey, I felt I needed to grow myself. And I went back to do a degree and came back as a doctor. And in that journey, I've had very strong women who've encouraged me, from my own mother.
Yeah.
She was a nurse, and she's the one who believed in studying. I saw her go to school as I grew up. And the sisters, my aunties, who have been powerful women and very encouraging. But alongside, I've had my uncles who also were very supportive. I lost one of my favorite uncle last year.
Oh, sorry.
But the gentleman who really every day would ask, where are you at? How far are you going? And alongside that, very many colleagues who have also been quite supportive. But most of all, my husband. And
wow.
yes, he's been there for me with all my many ideas of what I wanted to do. And when we met, I was just doing my final year in medicine, and we got married, and I had to go back, complete my studies. You can imagine you're a new bride, and 3 months later you've gone. But he was very supportive, alongside with my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, who really ensured that I complete, because that was one commitment they made. Yes, she's still in school, let her finish. But I was an old candidate, not a young student, who had gone back to do her degree in, as a senior person. Then came back and navigated my way back into the ministry, and got to get posted where I've really been supported by some of the senior doctors in Nakuru, who really encouraged me to take up leadership. I started off in KMA within the division, Nakuru, where I was a secretary of the division, grew it, and moved on to the national, where I was assistant secretary general. And from there, I went back to the division. I felt there are things I really needed to do to grow that division to where it needed to get to. And so,
what are these things?
One, the division really had not galvanized itself to bring together the doctors to a growth point, and also collaborate with the county, collaborate with partners. And we managed that. We trained a number of our doctors in terms of emergency medicine. We had one of the first leadership and governance training that we were offering through the University of Washington. And we got most of our colleagues to really look at leadership very differently and empowered them. And one of the most flamboyant graduations for them. And grew the revenue of also the division. And from there, I now ventured into the global platform. I'd been on the other end of the family physicians within the Africa region, but felt the Commonwealth was one of the associations that was not growing, and it had men within it, and it really needed a female perspective. And that's when I came in as the vice president, and we've grown with it. But along the way, there are people who've mentored me. Jackie Kitulu, who's recently been appointed as the president-elect of the World Medical Association. Marie here is junior to me, but she's, as much as she's junior, she's my mentee, but she also reverse mentors me, and has been very greatly supportive. And quite a number of other people, along with male allies and colleagues at the workspace, who have really walked the journey with us.
So you're still saying we need the male gender also in our
without
industries.
them, where are we going? Because if you don't work with them, it's a collaboration. If you're not collaborating with also the men, you're not having direction in terms of where you're going.
Okay, that makes sense. And Marie, there's something she's mentioned about at one point that industry, that level that she was in, needed a female perspective to move things forward. So probably for you, I'd ask, what was just one thing or one perspective of you as a woman, how you thought about things that changed directions in terms of probably a project or just moved you to the next level where you are? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that question.
It takes you back.
It takes it does take me back.
Yeah.
To my most recent leadership position.
Okay.
I was the chair of the Junior Doctors Network that's housed by the World Medical Association, first African female to hold the role.
Wow.
In almost 15 years of the network. And one of the things that I really learned, and I learned it from my mentors like Dr. Joy Mugambi and Dr. Kitulu and all the mentors under my, and who I'm under their wing, is leadership with empathy.
Yes.
Leadership with empathy. And I think that's a strong suit that women have, that empathy, many times more than you think, empathy is the first leadership trait that you will hit you as a woman and hit you as you lead other organizations. And for me, it was more of how can we move together and have that team cohesion to move forward. Because now in the team, we were different countries, different cultures, we had different genders on the team. So how to make sure the team moves forward with all these various tenets that we have to ensure that people feel like there's a safe space in airing their views or doing their work in their various roles.
But at times they say that empathy is actually what gets us down, because most of the times we think emotionally, we're not very analytical. How do we now separate these two and be able to at least be very objective when making decisions?
I think it's not a matter of which one over the other.
Yes.
It's a matter of using both of them to your advantage to push the organization further.
Okay.
Because as a woman, you might primarily lean on empathy and probably not be, your first choice will not be analytical thinking. But then remembering that you're dealing with a group of people who are have analytical thinking on their end, also means that you also have to have that bit of analytical thinking to push the organization forward. So it's not an either or, but more of complementing all these various traits towards moving the organization forward.
Then women, we must be smart, and I agree that. And in terms of challenges, I know you guys have faced a lot, and we are closer to taking the break, but before we go for that break, Dr. Joy, just to lay a foundation upon the general challenges that women face, even just climbing up this ladder in terms of leadership.
One, women are caregivers.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, you're not detaching your role as a woman at the home, at the community, and at the workplace. So you've got a job to do, but you've got caregiving to also give, and you've got to balance those. But it's
you just reminded me the conversation we were having when I was calling you to come to the show, and you're like, it's a good thing you found me, that I'm in Nairobi this weekend, you know. And you were so excited about being in Nakuru, just being in that space, but your family is in Nairobi all the time. Honestly, how do you hack? How do you hack just coming during the weekend?
Well, it's a balance between all these. And it's been a journey, because we've never been in a static point as a family.
Nice.
And we've got two very understanding children.
Oh.
They've also never been static all through. So it's easy to move around when you have an understanding spouse. When your children understand the dynamics of your work, and then give each other space. Because if you're not giving each other space, you're also pushing each other to the corner. It would have been very easy for all of us to move one direction. But am I growing? Am I thriving?
This is a good one. A conversation on to keep a different direction. Yes.
And then I would have pulled my husband in that direction and put him where I am. Is he growing?
No.
Is he thriving?
No.
So it's a matter of balancing everyone's growth. My children would have been with me, but were they growing? Were they thriving? They opted to move schools and they had things they wanted to do which were not available in Nakuru. And we told them, it's okay, so long as you're comfortable, you find a space where you can work. So that's the balance you need to have. You need to sit down with every family member and be able to understand each other. Remember, we also have family members. We've got parents to visit. We've got siblings to see each other with. You've got lots of responsibilities outside there. There is also church that needs you. There is a community that needs you. I left home, Menengai was burning. It's my neighborhood. I need to sort it out. But all these things are a balance. And once you learn how to balance them, then life thrives.
In terms of mentorship. And
everyone grows professionally. And you mentor even others.
Even your children, in terms of mentorship, you looked up to is it your mom who was a nurse?
Yes.
Are they looking up to you as well to get into the healthcare sector?
Yes.
They are?
I was to bring my daughter, but she said she wouldn't be able to sit and do nothing. But they look and see, and yes,
nice.
They are growing.
She could have come.
But we have we have something we do for our teenagers as a family. We gather them all in August and give them a youth camp, a boot camp where all as relatives we try to grow them in terms of mentorship.
So they want to be
no, my daughter doesn't want to be a doctor. Yes.
So akuna mwenye anataka?
My son maybe somewhere near medicine, but not medicine.
He wants to study what?
It's biomedicine and more of research, but not medicine.
Somewhere scientific. Ni sawa, watu wa science ndio hawa. Sisi wenye tuliingia kwa communications hapa na media. We couldn't read bio to save our lives, but it's okay. Guys, we want to take a short commercial break. We're coming back with more of these amazing leaders, and we are talking about women in global health leadership. And it's a lot. We want to honor them today. Accelerate Action is the theme for International Women's Day. So stay tuned. We're coming back with more. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, remember this is Health and Wellness. My name is Zaitan Ali, and before the break, we were talking about women in global health leadership. Yes, we just want to honor them because it's International Women's not day. Let's say month, because we're going to celebrate it the whole month. You know us, women. You know us. It has to be a big deal. And the theme we were saying is Accelerate Action. And let's just check out what is happening in the healthcare sector. Before the break, we were talking to Dr. Joy K. Mugambi. She is Secretary General, Commonwealth Medical Association, together with Dr. Marie Claire Wangare, who is co-founder, Women in Global Health Kenyan chapter. Bado wako ndani ya nyumba, and they're going to just talk more about their journey towards leadership. Karibuni sana. Before the break, we were talking about the challenges, and Dr. Joy was saying, please, nileteeni hapa tissues because what we have gone through, and I don't know, let's take it, let me talk to you, Marie, in terms of health, in terms of challenges and bias. What kind of stereotypes have you gone through in this healthcare sector?
Well, in my short leadership journey,
yes,
I think one of the biggest challenges, it's two-pronged. So one of the challenges that I face is one, you're too young to have done all these things that you've done. But now on a gender lens, I think there are always some characters you meet who automatically assume that you are only doing well because you've been sponsored. Now the incorrect sponsoring by a man ally, and that really takes you aback, because it's like, can't I achieve these things on my own volition? And how can I prove to you that this is actually hard work that I've put in? It is having mentorship sessions with my mentors, it's having coaching with my coaches, it's learning how to move forward despite all the challenges that are there.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the, I think, summary of the challenges that are faced.
Okay. And
Yeah.
Dr. Joy, another thing also that comes up is most women are being seen as they're not as qualified. There are certain project management courses that people actually do to be able to enhance leadership. Once you're done with your degree, whatever course you did, how important are these courses in terms of now just preparing you to become that leader that you're supposed to be seen qualified? Because sometimes they're saying in healthcare, what happens is there's a role that is vacant, a leadership role that is vacant. Whatever you're seeing next is who is the next person who is available. Just come and fill this role. So in terms of now education and upskilling, how is this project management important?
Basically, we are taught to be scientists. Soft skills are not part of the teachings, but they are coming up within even the learning institutions.
Yeah.
Though I always believe in self-improvement, there are many gaps that are not taught during the medical school years. Project management is one. Yes, we do our research projects, but it's not project management. When you look at the work we do, it's basically project after project. And if you don't know how to manage the project cycles, you're left behind. So as an individual, it is important to keep self-developing communication skills, policy and governance, leadership and governance, project management trainings. So long as it is a skill that will improve you, take it. Find time in between your hours, because right now there is a lot ongoing in terms of even online learning that can really benefit you in terms of improvement. Once you leave work in the evening, when you're done with your job, 1 or 2 hours of self-improvement makes a very big difference.
Okay, that makes sense. Dr. Marie, and now there's been a whole, what's it called? Vuta ni kuvute, interns being posted, interns need to be paid. How is it now? What policies are being put in place to ensure that actually there's growth even from the minute you graduate to now actually give these people a chance to show their skills and their capabilities?
It's unfortunate, but medicine is a very lonesome journey sometimes. So you find once you're done with your undergraduate degree, you're left to your own volition to do whatever you can. So it's not like you finish and now you're like, let me go into maybe business or project management or policy and advocacy. It's up to your individual efforts to get into those spaces. And now with the waiting time being increased to almost 1 year, we find people some who have the right mentors who go on track and they do activities that are growing to their profession. But you also have a lot of people who are at home in despair with family demands that need to be met, and they're trying to find a way of how to move forward. Unfortunately, with the ministry, it's a work in progress with each coming group that is there. So I can't really say whether there's been a solution that's been put, because the last solution that was communicated was for the current batch of interns. Right now, we have another group of about, I think, 600 who have finished medical school training. They've taken the oath, but now they're waiting to work in a hospital. So my call to action is similar to Dr. Joy's, where to take 1 to 2 hours per day of self-improvement. Some of these courses are free and they're online. Some of the other courses you pay something small to do them, but they go a long way in keeping your mind active and away from the despair, and 2, also it gives you a new skill that you can use as you wait for your posting. So yes, the interns issue is still an issue. But we are hoping that with time to come, there might be more stable solutions that are given towards it.
Did you hustle yourself?
Yes.
After school,
But we were lucky. So we finished, or rather our results came out on 30th September. Then that's how I actually got into KMA properly. They offered me an internship. So I interned with them for 6 weeks, and then after 6 weeks we were called to our various stations to work in.
Oh wow,
So
that's actually great.
Yes.
Ulipanda hivyo vyote. You're inspiring. Thank you so much. And you had mentioned also, Dr. Joy, about something to do with even we need our men allies in this sector. So what role are they playing in the healthcare sector, and how can they just improve? Because also on the flip side, in terms of challenges, we are saying they're really not giving us that spot to shine. So how can we better this?
One, let me even put a caveat.
Yes.
Men are there to give you the space. But also we have a challenge with the women, as you heard from Marie, that not every woman is growing the other woman.
Okay.
So let's focus on the male allies.
A little bit of both.
Yes.
We'll come back to that as well.
Our male allies, they have a great opportunity to work with us, and it's up to us to give them the opportunity to support you to grow.
Yes.
Given safe spaces, because usually both species have a problem with safeguarding. Given safe spaces, men have been very supportive.
Yeah.
And KMA has been a very safe space for support, where the men have allowed us to come forward and be who we are as women leaders. If you look at most committees, they are led by women. The top leadership has majority being women. Actually,
yes.
at the present, 2/3 is women, and 1/3 is the men. But they don't feel intimidated. They have been there actually asking us to move forward.
Nice.
My campaign for CMA was done by our president.
CMA?
Commonwealth Medical Association.
Okay.
Dr. Kigondu, our president of Kenya Medical Association, was my chief campaigner. We've been supported and mentored all through by a number of great leaders in health,
yeah,
who would have taken the space for themselves, but instead they ask, keep moving. We are behind you and supporting you. So yes, men can be great allies.
Yeah.
It's about working with them, having trust with each other, and supporting each other also in the spaces.
Okay.
I know people keep saying there is a glass ceiling to be broken. No, the glass ceiling has a hole.
Yes, please talk about that. Yes.
The glass ceiling has a hole. It's just a matter of where you're placing the ladder.
Okay.
And if you have a team below you working with you to ensure that you lift the ladder in the appropriate hole. But the men are up there, yes, in the glass ceiling. The problem is the glass is so clean, but we are not seeing it clearly in terms of where the hole is. And we really need to direct our energies as a team of women on the ground, not pulling each other apart,
yes,
but helping each other lift that ladder to be able to direct it in the right place. So that when Marie needs to take that step forward, you're telling her, yes, here I am. What do you need? How do I help you to get there? When I was trying to get there, these were my barriers. Alongside, these are the policies we can implement to move, since I am at the 40% of top career profession, working with the rest from down here to be able to guide the ladder. And we are all capable of getting there.
Okay. We need to learn how to have healthy competition
Yes.
as women. I agree. Dr. Marie, some of the leadership skills and styles that you believe in, probably just talk about that. You know, we are accelerating action. So the policies that we are putting in place to just change this healthcare sector to provide the best to the people out here in the society.
Thanks. I think we, as a country, we are already on the right track with the gender 1/3 rule.
Yes.
I mean, people underestimate that rule, but if you're able to just implement it, we'll go in a much further direction. I think, as Dr. Joy has mentioned, a good organization to think about is Kenya Medical Association. They've proven time and time again that when you invest in the woman, the organization grows leaps and bounds and develops into a change maker to society. However, when you're looking at it from how to solve various issues, I think one of the key ways that you could solve leadership on governance issues is by joining these associations or networks or movements of people, because that's where you get to see, okay, this is how I lead, but how about this is also how Dr. Joy leads, and it also works, and it also pushes the association forward. In terms of challenges, I think one of the things I'll say is he who wears the shoe knows where it pinches the most. So unfortunately, when it comes to women's leadership or women's rights issues, it's the woman who knows more about these challenges and more about the solutions than the man ally. But it's by breaking that bias and engaging the men that the solution will be found faster. Because as we said, 70% of the leadership is male-led in health. So we need to engage these men into finding our solutions instead of just saying that crying wolf and saying we are women, we need more seats at the table. Before you get those seats at the table, it needs you to lobby and advocate amongst the men ally population, or even the men whether they are not allies, and tell them, hey, this is what is going on, and this is a potential solution, and this is where the organization should put its focus on with a gender lens.
And in terms of innovation, what are we putting in place and policies to actually ensure that we as women are able to create that action and change this healthcare sector?
Yes, so I think one of the key solutions has been in research and policy, and also in coaching. So at Women in Global Health do a lot of policy work, and we've released several reports that highlight a bit of the Kenyan dynamic. There is the She Shapes report, which I mentioned the statistics about 40% of top leadership and 42% of mid leadership being in the top level in Kenya. There's also another report which looked at the PPEs, personal protective equipment, and how how they are created for the male physique, yet most health workers are female, and it poses them.
Like nini gloves, ama? No,
the ones you wear, the white, the ones that people are scared of.
The ones white we saw at the time for COVID.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Really? Oh, that's a challenge, guy.
That is a challenge.
Some of us couldn't fit in.
Serious?
Yes.
So what did you do?
Some of us were swimming in them.
How was it for you within that time?
I had just started practicing medicine, so it was a rude shock. Because you can imagine now you're straight from medical school, and you think you know everything, and then a disease you've never been taught happens in the country, and now you're the frontline health worker who has to attend to these patients.
Oh my God, what was the experience like? So what did you do?
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I was in a small hospital. So even for us, our cases, if we were referring to Tigoni Hospital, which was a county referral, but the few cases that we couldn't refer, we just had to manage them and find a way as a hospital to manage the various cases. I was also working in the after in 2021, I started working in the oncology unit, and I saw how even getting cancer care was difficult for people, either because of travel barriers or just general financial constraints. So I think for me it was an eye-opening experience, and it showed me the other side of medicine that we don't think about. Like right now, I don't think you would have ever thought about personal protective equipment.
Exactly. You've mentioned, I'm like, kwani gloves? The first thing that got to my mind, I'm like, see, gloves everyone can wear. Okay, I never thought about that. So now you're trying to put policies to actually...
So there's actually a position paper that shares the various challenges, and women around the world were questioned on how the PPEs are affecting their work. And one of the statistics we found was about 70% of women contracted COVID just because of the PPEs not being fit to physique.
Okay, that's sad.
Yes.
I think one benefit that was there during COVID, and I was working at the front line, and I was in a COVID center. But lucky enough, we had what we called the CHIRAC, which was a committee in KMA to work with the Ministry of Health to try and ensure that we have the right PPE on the ground, we have the right equipment and the right health workers and the training. And with the fund that we got from Equity, we were able to work with the industries directly. And I remember we had a day at KMA where the measurements were taken because we had complained. You can imagine trying to fix that hazmat suit and it can only reach your... And you're asking yourself, how do you go into the room, and you're being told, just pull it. It's okay, the rest will be taped with a tape.
Oh no.
Even tears in some corners. So we had all the challenges. These suits were not only made not for female, but also they did have consideration of the different shapes and sizes of the different places, because they were being made outside the country. So lucky enough, the industries were able to make suits which were big enough, well-shaped, and could fit the general population. But we know other countries had issues. We were lucky enough to work as an association with organizations and get it done. But how many others are suffering? What other problems do we have in the health sector that things are not fitting because of the gender?
Okay. Hey, and
even the height of the theater table could be a challenge when you're doing surgery. And those are the many things that Women in Global Health has come to fill the gap. We at the policy level, even in our workspaces, are able to listen. And also now these are side of the associations coming together. And remember, with KMA, we were working with all associations, being able to bring them together and make a difference, but pick out the perspectives of everyone.
Okay. Hey, asanteni sana. And even as we're winding up the show, I just want you to take a few minutes, just tell us what you guys are planning. What can we look up next year when we're coming back here to say again it's International Women's Day? So what are we aspiring to do in terms of accelerating action? So throughout the year, we're accelerating action in the healthcare sector. So 1 minute each as we wind up. Let's start with you, Doc.
Okay. Now from CMA, we are looking at the climate agenda and women empowerment, as well as the Stop TB. And we have the committees running. Part of them, even Marie is one of the committee members. And we are hoping that at the end of the year, as we wind up our year, that we are seeing numbers of TB going down. We are seeing more drug production locally. We are also seeing more empowerment of the women and girls in their school places under the women empowerment, taking up more leadership space within even their organizations and the Commonwealth in general. We are lucky to have even a female Secretary General at the Commonwealth itself. And we are hoping that we continue having to empower more of our own to take up leadership. Then we also look forward to having the youth agenda. Internship is a problem not only locally. It's a global problem. And the Commonwealth region is also very affected by internship issues. Doctors are not getting internship opportunities, and post-internship, the opportunities for employment are not coming up. How do we empower them to look at health agenda in a different perspective? What happens in the future when people are retired? Who will be treating us? We really need to advocate for them to get a space to work and better pay for them to be able to have better spaces. So it's not only the female agenda, it's basically the giving opportunity to the young person to be able to grow into the space where we are.
Okay. Thank you so much, Marie.
Yes, so I think my call to action is to invite more women working in global health to join our movement.
Yeah.
I think we are stronger when we come together and we learn from each other. Mine is also to advocate for more mentorship within the global health arena. There's that saying, if you want to go fast, you go with many people, not just alone.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that those of us in the global health arena work together towards advocating for better health systems and just advocating for more gender transformative leadership. As women in global health, we are planning to have a couple of engagements. We had one with community health workers recently, about 2 weeks ago, and now we are trying to plan for more other strategic engagements to hear more from women on what they would like from us to shape the global health agenda in the country.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kai, you guys are doing amazing work out there. Kudos to you. Muendelee vivyo hivyo. Yes, and actually, you know, mentorship, I can see Dr. Marie is a product of correct mentorship. Clearly. Sido kweli? Na nasonga mbele. So and even just allow the people, even the viewers who are watching, those who are in the healthcare sector, maliza tu shule hivi wondering what's your next step. Please feel free. Shika awa mateka. That's why we are bringing them to shows like this, just to create awareness. It is possible to grow. Not only the women, even gentlemen, I know they are hustling out there. You're hearing that internship opportunities, it's a global challenge. Si Kenya peke yake. So tushike watu kama wa mateka. Mentorship, they can offer coaching, you know, you can be able to dive into some, what's it called, programs like yours. So please reach out to us on our social media platforms at KTN Home _ on Instagram, on X as well, and on Facebook we are at KTN Home. WhatsApp line 0759 434389 0759 434389. In case you have any questions in regards to anything about the healthcare sector, please just shoot it to us. We'll be sure to send it to the doctors out there and they can be able to guide. So where can people find you? Umetaja KMA sana, wewe uko Nakuru, please. In case they want to find you, where can they find you?
In Nakuru.
Yes.
And I'm available. I work as the County Director Health Nakuru County. And KMA is another space where I'm found. Women in Global Health. Yes. I am the advisor of the board. And anytime.
You're in social media?
Yes, we are in social media. Me as J. Karamana. We'll share with you.
Sawa,
and
sawa.
You can tag
and for
us.
the global women in global health?
Yes, so we are on X and Instagram at WGH Kenya.
WGH Kenya.
Yes.
Mbona X na nini peke yake?
We are yet to grow.
Oh no, look, probably it's strategic. That is where I was expecting even LinkedIn, you know. And that's where you get this professional.
Well, LinkedIn has the Women in Global Health overall page. Yes, but for Kenya chapter, we are on X and Instagram.
Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Thank you for also coming and sharing amazing insights on leadership in the healthcare sector. Find this episode on YouTube at KTN. And also see you next Sunday. Same time, simply 6 p.m. KTN on Health and Wellness. My name is Zaitun Ali. Until next time, see you.